Bienvenidos a la Flyways podcast. I am your host. Hopefully, I did not blow out your ears. My host is, I am your host. My host is Calness. I am Joey Basayo. And we also have, in the closet over there, we got British Cotter.
Krabby Cotter.
British Krabby Cotter.
You can do a British accent, right, Carter?
No.
Well, with that haircut, you absolutely could, mate.
With that attitude, you won't be able to.
Oi, you come look at me like that again, I swear to God, I'm going to stick you right in the gut, mate.
It's like you're really hovering into Australian.
I can't
so
say
hard not to.
Listen here, mate. No, that's Australian.
That's Australian.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
But when I say in it,
yeah.
in it, then I go right back into it.
I love that with British accents, there's like 5 versions of a British accent.
Oh, there's like way more than 5.
For sure, but there's like your main few. There's like the rich person, the rich British, you know?
Lord Cornwallis.
Absolutely, sir. I would not be in any hesitance to bring your car right round. That's like, you know. Then there's like
hesitance.
Yeah, then there's like your like proper English, which is just like your average English business person.
Right.
And then you get into like rummy British, you know, where it's
rummy.
Oh, mate, it's quite rummy. In it. Kind of down in the dirt. Not exactly a high class citizen. And then you get even worse, where it gets into like in it. And it's barely.
Oh, right. Well,
you could right barely understand any of it.
Oh my God, you're yelling so loud.
Did I peak, Carter?
No.
Nice.
Really close.
You actually already peaked in high school. So
it wasn't that early.
I'm sorry to tell you that. Yeah. Back when you had earrings.
That wasn't in high school.
The fake diamond studs.
Not
that was
till
right
college.
after?
Not till college.
Oh. I'm thinking of the picture when you went to prom with your wife. So you're out of high school and you still went to prom. And you had diamond studs.
Yes.
But they weren't real diamonds, were they?
No, definitely. Probably cubic zirconia.
Like, way worse.
Probably cubic zirconia.
You're like, I want to look like I'm in it.
Yeah.
But I'm not in it.
Yeah, mate.
In it.
I ain't scared to say it. Had them fake earrings in all the time.
I went back to high school.
Yep.
With my girlfriend.
Yep.
Because she was in high school.
In it.
Kind of it. Anyway.
Guys,
back to reality here.
This podcast is brought to you by Migra Ammunitions. If you have not tried the original stacked load, go get 2.4. It's Joey and I's favorite load. I also really like shooting 1.3, just depending on the time of year. Mm-hmm. So big geese, ducks, doesn't matter. 2.4, 1.3. Both of them do the job really well. They have a bunch of cool stuff that came out last year as well. So check out some of their mixes, their blends, as one might say.
They're right rowdy, right?
Yeah.
Right rowdy.
For sure.
In it?
Kind of it. Joey.
It's a made up word. No, before you ask me a single thing.
Okay. I have an article I really want to talk about.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Save it.
It's cool.
I want to talk about our reviews and what awesome things are coming with it. Guys, we are giving away some unbelievable shit. And I mean, I keep looking at the wrong camera. Unbelievable shit for our giveaway.
Nice job.
We're giving away First Light kits. Big time. We're giving away turtle boxes. Huge right now. That turtle box is so hot right now.
It is. Nice, dude. Yeah.
You see what's on my tit in it? Got a turtle box.
Tittle box.
With a topping.
With the British accent, it almost sounds like you said tittle box.
Tittle box?
Tittle box. We're venturing Australian.
Anyway, so we're going to have some sick shit on our giveaway.
Yeah.
It's like 10 to 20 grand.
It's a lot of stuff. So just go leave a review on Apple Podcasts and send your favorite podcast to one of your buddies. Mm-hmm. That would help us out. Okay.
Tell me about your article.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you said you had some stuff.
We had a very serious directive from our British producer over there in the closet, our closeted producer.
Krabby Cotter.
Yep.
You bit Quabby, ain't you?
No.
Yeah?
No.
In it?
No.
In it.
Bit Quabby in it.
Dude. In it. Kind of it. I don't know what that is. I just have to. It's too easy. All right. Dude, I read this article on Outdoor News.
Yeah, right.
I did. I literally did. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
Proposal would alter South Zone duck season in Minnesota. Did you read this?
I did.
Published April 9th. Yeah. So I'll just read a little bit of it. Minnesota DNR proposal that would increase late season duck hunting opportunities is in the state's South Zone this fall. In the state's South Zone this fall is pending approval, by the DNR Commissioner's Office. Under the proposal, the 2025 60-day duck season in the South Zone would run from September 27 through October 5. Then it would close for 12 days.
Oh.
This is what we've been saying the whole time. And then continue from October 18 through December 7th. Adding season days into early December would allow waterfowlers in the South Zone to target late migrating ducks, particularly mallards, state officials say. So it seems like all of the bitching we've been doing is actually working. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a proposal.
Scott's going to cream his pants big time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the season structure for Minnesota's two other waterfowl hunting zones would be unchanged. The North Zone would open September 27 and run continuously for 60 days. The Central Zone would run from September 27 through October 5, close for 5 days, and then continue from October 11 through November 30. So that'd be the same season that we've been having.
We get to hunt on Thanksgiving again?
We would get to hunt on Thanksgiving again, though. But that's just the way that the cookie crumbled this year in terms of the actual season dates. But yeah, it was so weird last year to have it closed on Thanksgiving.
It was unacceptable.
It made no sense.
It was unacceptable.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Yeah.
What day did we actually close last year?
The Sunday before Thanksgiving. I think it was the 22nd or the 23rd.
It was like 23rd. Yeah, it was early. It's like so early. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this would be, my hope with this would be that they would test trial this in the South Zone. Mm-hmm. And then if it goes well, they would then open it up so that we could do this in the Central Zone for sure. And then ideally, the North Zone would just go to what the Central Zone is right now.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right.
But I just thought it was kind of crazy that me and you have literally been talking about kind of that exact situation. Now, obviously, would love for it to run even longer into December.
Right.
But just having any days to hunt ducks in December at all would be pretty cool. And being able to just run south a little bit. We don't have to go that far for you and I to be in the South Zone.
Right. No.
So, I don't know. I just thought it was pretty sweet. Ideally, though, this is not something just for the South Zone, because I think this could be applied all over the state of Minnesota. The season right now is it's almost impossible to try to target mallards if you actually want to hunt mallards.
Right. I was gonna pull up something from a Facebook page that I helped start. It was called Minnesota Late Season Duck Hunters Alliance. We now have 116 members.
You started that?
In conjunction. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's doing that with you?
Peter Krog. And
I had no idea.
Culp.
Yeah, you didn't tell me about that.
Well, yeah. He started it, immediately made me an admin.
Sure.
But I think there's 10 admins. So
Peter made it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I told him that I don't have time to run it.
Run it, yeah.
Yeah, no. Here was something really interesting that he proposed, which I'm like, this is dope.
I think I've seen this, but I'd love to hear you read it on here.
Scenario 1. Or I'm sorry. We both hunt the same area. You love chasing early season ducks in September. I live for late season mallards. Season 1. There's one 60-day season. Whoever makes the most noise gets their way. Fast forward, you win, I lose, but I still love to duck hunt, so I'm going to go when the law says I can. Opener rolls around, you pull up to your WMA, there's a truck. I'm already in your spot. Season 2. The season is split into two 60-day seasons, staggered by 15 days. Scenario 2. The season is split into two 60-day seasons, staggered by 15 days. You get your early opener, I get my late season greenheads. Openers around, you show up to the WPA parking lot and it's empty. Meanwhile, I'm at home dreaming of my wads of fully plumed mallards. Which option would you prefer? So, what that's essentially saying is the people who only go out early season, which are a lot of our license sales,
Yep.
they would get to hunt the early season. People who opt for the second license, so we would go into December, get to hunt 2 weeks in December.
Right.
I would jump.
For sure.
I would jump at that option.
So would I.
Oh my God. And it's sick.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Like being able to just give people a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're only going to get your 60 days, but you can decide when it starts. I
Right.
think that would be a great way to do it.
Here's what I think a lot of people don't understand. And I feel like we're beating this topic
For
like
sure.
like a dead horse. So I'd say this is like the last time we talk about it. But I feel like the biggest positive impact that it has on waterfowling in the Mississippi Flyway as a whole is that it brings down those pressured birds, or like all those birds that get here and sit here, which is it's a huge number
It's a
across
huge
the
number of
whole
them.
state of Minnesota, and we haven't had a real winter in a long time.
Doesn't feel like it, at least.
No, and those birds that get here and stay here, they're gonna get pushed south, which is gonna make everybody else's season so much better.
Yeah.
So it's not like, look at us, we're getting so many more season dates than you. It's more so like, look at you getting more birds. You know, they're actually migrating south, because I'd say the two biggest things, weather and pressure, is what makes birds move.
Yeah. 100%. And we're not getting the weather.
We're not getting the weather, so they need the pressure.
Yeah.
To
And
leave Minnesota.
people south of us have been bitching for years now that they're not getting birds when their seasons are opening the way that they used to. And that's because, in my opinion, the migrations have pushed back, you know, especially with the changes in weather. Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. And people that say that us being able to hunt later would be a bad thing for bird populations. Right now, we're not doing anything to the bird populations because they're not showing up until our season is over. And then, like you said,
I don't think anyone is saying that we're going to hurt the population. It's more so, it's a federally mandated.
oh, I've seen
thing.
people on Facebook screaming and bitching about it. You know, and like Minnesota waterfowlers or whatever, when people are like, the season needs to get pushed back, you'll have people commenting, excuse me, that'll be like, if we do that, then you guys are just going to shoot all the mallards, and then they won't even migrate through Minnesota. You know, they won't stop at all. They'll just keep going, which I think is, obviously, I agree with you, is bullshit. But there are people that think that, for sure.
Right.
You know, that are bitching about it.
No, for sure. I also did some digging
Yeah.
for some current event news. And there is some new federal regulations, and then there's also a lot of state level changes through like the country. And some of them are pretty different, or like their proposals, or they are being changed. I don't know. I figured I'd read it. on
Let's
the
assume
podcast.
they're all proposals.
Right. The Adaptive Harvest Management Frameworks, so AHM, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service continues to utilize AHM to set hunting regulations for the 25-26 season. The liberal regulatory alternative has been selected for all flyways based on favorable population estimates for key species like mallards and teal. So essentially what that is saying is that they are open to change based on the two main species that everybody wants to kill. Teal, mallards. Because the rest of the population of ducks has gone down significantly. But those two populations, or three, you know, blue, green-winged teal, and the mallards have done a steady increase, but everything else is dropping.
Wow.
So they're open to change. So we need to figure out like who we need to get into contact with to be like, do you need a petition? Do you need something? Like, what do you need from the waterfowlers in Minnesota, or just the Mississippi Flyway in general?
Sure.
You know, if it's federal or state,
Yeah.
of like, can we bring you some proposals to change? Because they just raised the pintail limit. It is official nationwide to 3.
Will states still have a choice then, or you know what I'm saying?
It's a federal deal. So, I mean, so far no state has said we're going to keep ours to 1.
Interesting. Why would they raise the pintail limit if pintail population is in decline?
Because it is not in decline, essentially.
Interesting. Are you sure?
As far as I can tell from all my research.
Because why? Yeah, I'm just confused. Because like the thing you just read us said that every other population outside of mallard and teal.
It's pretty broad. There's some that have taken an uptick, but it's not enough to really talk about.
I'm just thinking of all the nerds at home that are going to be like, wait a minute, he just said,
But you also have to think about the fact that, and I can't remember who I was talking to about this. They knew a lot more than me. I think it was Tyler Saar, which we're going to have on the podcast at some point, but our schedules are not lining up. He knows way more about this shit than I do. They are understanding that where they've been doing their surveys is different than it has been in the past. So when they say there's an uptick or a downtick, they're going off of historical areas of breeding areas, right? And wintering areas, and then also where ducks just collect throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so they are starting to hear our cries like, how can you say the pintail population is down? This is the most pintails I've seen in South Dakota in 30 years. They're like, oh, well, we've been checking North Dakota instead of South Dakota. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We've been checking on the east corridor of the Dakotas, when in reality, they're all in the middle. That's where like the bulk of these populations are. So we're checking these areas because that's where they've always been. But now the flyway has been
changing.
Yeah. Which seems normal. But if you're just like the DNR officers, like, or the biologists, where they're like, this is where I was told to go. So this is where I'm going to go to like check the population.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to Wana Boo Boo over here on this Facebook page saying blank. There has to be, there has to be like years of evidence to show like, yes, it has been shifting. There are a lot over here. This local biologist said, this is the most I've seen in 30 years.
So, I mean, essentially the question becomes like, does any of that research even matter? I mean, it matters because we can see that the population of those birds in that area is going up or down. Mm-hmm. But how are we otherwise getting a realistic, like accurate depiction of what the bird population is doing across the entire country? I'm sure there's reporting stations all over the country. As to what degree they're actually like going out and taking realistic like population numbers, I don't know. And that's the question. I think that's what everybody's question has always been. Like, how are we actually getting these numbers?
Right. I think one of the big things is they're doing a lot more backpack studies, right? So they're seeing where it has to be one of the ways that they're getting their data, right?
I'm sure it's telling them where these birds are going from and to. Yeah, and they can probably see then with that information that if consistently birds are migrating further east or whatever they're doing, I'm sure they can probably track that. Whether or not they're set up in these new areas to have somebody actually go out and take a realistic estimate of how many ducks there are down there, I don't know. It seems like they're not. But at the same time, it's like, how could you, if the population is moving or shifting in their migration pattern, it's going to take the DNR a little bit of time to catch up with that.
Right. And I don't know if it's the DNR or biologists,
I'm guessing it's not the DNR. I'm guessing it's the DNR in conjunction with like some other, non-profit groups that are doing some sort of collection survey or something. I don't know. But like, what's that one that's out of, like where the Illinois River converges? Like there's the Illinois River convergence with, I think, the Mississippi.
Okay.
They obviously go out, like they check that area. Like that is one of the places that does a lot of reporting.
Yeah.
On how many ducks there are, So for instance, like that operation, they're flying in a helicopter.
Cessna, probably.
Sure. Whatever. They're flying in some sort of aircraft to collect those numbers. And I'm just simply kind of saying like, if I'm the DNR or whatever group is doing this work and we're seeing like some major shift, it's going to take us some time to figure out like, all right, who's going to now go out in an airplane in this area and give us who's actually educated, about how to get these numbers that can go out and figure out how many ducks they're seeing there. So I just don't know how fast they're able to keep up with some of that. And the hardest part about all this is like then they report these numbers. People freak out one way or another or have their opinions on stuff. But realistically, all of these numbers, we don't even know what the accuracy level of any of these reporting, stations is at this point. I think that's what makes it so hard. I know for sure one thing that's pretty crazy to me that I've read about pintails is like in the 50s and 60s, they estimated the population in the United States of pintails to be about 10 million. Right now, Right now, they estimate that the population of pintails is about 1.8 million.
Really?
Yeah,
Carter,
which
can you
is
check that?
Yeah.
Which is really low.
Yeah. But and speaking of Ducks Unlimited, they also sponsor this podcast, guys. And I don't know if you guys are members of Ducks Unlimited. It takes about $35 for the year. They usually give you this cool care package that goes along with it. But they're doing so many good things for waterfowl and conservation. You would be dumb not to be a member of DU. So go to ducks.org, become a member, and see if there is anything in your area that you can be involved with, because then you can also meet other hunters in your area, people that are also very passionate about waterfowl. That's something that I want to do these next couple years is have a resurgence of DU banquets in our area specifically, because there was a chapter here that got shut down. Not enough people started going to it. And I had a buddy whose dad ran it, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wants to get it started again. And so I'm going to try to help him with that and try to, get people going to that kind of thing again.
Yeah, for sure. There are still a lot of people that go to them, but I will say,
not in our area.
I
think the closest one to us is Anoka, and then the next closest one is Lakeville.
No, I've seen quite a few.
Okay.
I know there's one in Minnetonka for sure.
Oh.
I know that there's one in like the northwest suburbs, like Maple Grove for sure. So I don't know where all of these are happening. Some of them, Joey, I'm sure are better advertised than others. Like some of these are probably, I don't know how put together some of these different banquets or groups or whatever are, but for sure. Okay, so Carter's pulled it up for us. What is that number on the left, Carter? It's millions?
It's in millions, yep.
So this is for Ducks Unlimited. This is on their website, right?
Correct. This is their 2024 survey.
Okay, so we're a little up on. So I don't understand. So the number on the right, what is that? That was last year?
Yep. So Pintail went down 300K from their survey.
Which is kind of a lot since there's only 2.29 million in 2023. I mean, considering going to 24, they lost 300,000 of our pintails. That's a lot. That's a lot of pintails to lose. So yeah, pintails last year, 11% drop. Right now, the estimate is that there's about 1.975 million. So almost 2 million pintails.
So the year before it had dropped 49%.
What's that number on the right, Carter? The far right?
Yeah, that is change from LTA, long-term average. So down 50% from the long-term average.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So that was your 10 million you were talking about previously.
Right. I wonder what mallard numbers were then.
Well, I'm sure they were
like in the 50s or 60s, like when pintails were at 10 million. What were mallards at?
Right. Well, what's cool about mallards is they're the most adaptive duck out there. Like I see them in flooded grass fields right now eating earthworms.
Right.
That's what they're eating. Or grass sprouts.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Whereas like an eider can only eat certain seafoods.
Right.
So if that gets wiped out, they get wiped out. Whereas mallard, they can eat anything from corn, beans, earthworms, fish. They can eat
insects,
yeah.
Invertebrates that are in the water.
Anything. They can eat
pretty much
anything.
whatever. Yeah. It is pretty cool. Yeah, I wonder what the least adaptive duck would be.
Probably an eider.
Probably.
They have like the lowest populations.
Yeah.
And apparently Brant,
I guess, yeah. I don't know much about brand. I don't know much about sea ducks, to be honest.
Nothing. I know
Yeah,
nothing.
I don't know.
I know that apparently they don't taste very good.
I would believe that
Yeah.
based on what they're eating.
Right.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, and they're just hanging out in salt water all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yucky.
Yeah, they get that nasty coloring to them. They're sitting in that foamy water. You know, they just look yellow.
Right.
That's gross.
Okay.
That makes me think I wouldn't want to eat one.
Right. I mean, I'm sure there's old heads on the East Coast and West Coast that are like, no, you have to just use an entire thing of Old Bay. You know?
The whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You have
I'm
to
sure.
brine it in battery acid. It's like, oh, okay.
Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Same
seen
thing.
that.
Same
I've seen
thing.
people do that.
I've seen a battery run on Coca-Cola.
Have you really?
No.
Okay.
I was talking shit. Okay, here's some other shit that I was going to talk about.
Your mic's too high.
Here's some other shit that I was going to talk
So
about.
much better.
Sorry, guys. It's just give me a second to get adjusted to the new studio.
Right.
Okay? Callous knees.
Yeah, this is the first time we've ever used microphones. You're right.
So anyway,
Let me introduce you to my taint, Carter. Now stick out your tongue and lick it.
Carter,
Yeah.
I have a fart
you
box.
are so crabby.
I have a
I'm not
fart
crabby at
Hey,
all.
Carter, I have a fart box that you can tongue. Okay?
Yeah, remember Carter when you got mad that we were starting the podcast at the same time we always do?
I wasn't mad at all.
It's
I was just
crazy.
confused. That was it.
I wasn't mad.
In it. Kind of it.
That's what Carter looks like right now.
Beatboxer.
And we got the bop. And we got the boop bop. And we got the beam bada bop bop boom.
Carter, please use a British accent.
I don't have one. I don't have one in the locker.
Well, your teeth say otherwise. So, anyway, that's all for sure going to get cut out because you're a big crybaby. So, I can't see him, period,
Right.
which upsets me.
He's literally doing nothing but this. Just straight faced.
Oh, we got our crybaby back. Well, listen to that, ain't we?
Well,
So-
wishing to that.
Anyway, Texas has shortened their teal season
Oh, really?
from 16 days to 9 days due to a decline in blue-wing teal populations. They are also adjusting their season for the reduction in teal length allows for flexibility in extending other waterfowl seasons such as high plains mallard management units. Damn. And then they set our season dates for Minnesota. Not that exciting.
Which I told you earlier.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. I'm just going through my list.
Yep.
Every state has raised their pintail bag limit to 3, aligning with federal guidelines, including North Carolina. Here's what was pretty wild. The Pacific Northwest, Washington, and Oregon reduced their Canada goose limit to 2 birds per day in permit zones.
Who did that?
Oregon and Washington.
Interesting. From 3?
I don't know what it was before, but it's in permit zones. So I don't know exactly what that means. But I'm guessing
Right,
there's
that's
like
gotta be something.
certain areas where there's a lot of duskies. That's my guess because too many have been killed.
Interesting.
And then their season length shortened from a maximum of 107 days to 74 days.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. With the season ending by February 15th of 2026.
Why? 100 reasons that we don't really know for sure.
Right.
Right. The DNR just doing DNR shit. Just fuck you. You're not allowed to hunt anymore.
You know, when we get a game warden on here or a DNR officer, I want you to talk exactly the same way. DNR just doing DNR shit.
I'm gonna. I would say that.
I
to a
would
DNR
too.
officer.
I would too. Like,
Yeah.
why do you suck?
Yeah.
Why are you the way that you are? Are you taught this in school? Or were you not popular enough in school as well?
Damn.
You know, is this a power struggle?
Oh shit.
But that's just like all law enforcement in general. It's not
Yeah.
just DNR, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And now I'm just talking shit to be funny, but please don't.
Don't at me.
Please don't at me.
Yeah.
Please don't at me.
They do hate us though sometimes.
Yeah.
They don't want us. It's weird because I'm not really sure what the DNR, like at the end of the day, is the DNR a advocate for hunting or against hunting? I think
Feels like they're
that's
against
my
it.
confusion. Because the DNR makes money when people hunt. Like there's a hunting program for a reason. People
the
would
Department of the Interior makes money, not the DNR.
Well, the DNR definitely makes money when we hunt.
So I looked this up one time because I got really upset. It goes to the Department of the Interior, and then they divide up the money as they see fit. And a lot of times they leave it up to the state, right?
Sure.
And then it goes down to the DNR, and then they make the
So like our
decisions off of
state
that.
license, you're saying the money we pay for our state license
Goes to
does
our
not
state.
go to our
No,
state.
it goes to our state.
So what part of it doesn't go to our state?
Tickets.
When you get in trouble hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that goes to the Department of the Interior, and then it gets trickled down.
Are you looking this up, Carter?
No, but I can.
Sure, do it. Just so we can see how it actually, like if there's like a graph or something you can pull up of how the funds go, because like I'm so confused. So it goes to the Department of the Interior, and then they just most of the time kick it back to the state to figure out what to do with it.
Most of the time.
But they can say, fuck you, we're keeping this money.
I'm guessing. Yep.
Wow, that seems insane.
Because the DNR is an entity of the Department of the Interior,
Right.
which is federal.
Yep. Interesting.
So like, and maybe it depends on the charge. So like, if it's a Lacey Act charge, that's a federal crime that goes to the Department of the Interior. Whereas like a state crime, like, oh, you killed 4 wood ducks instead of 3,
Instead of 3 or whatever.
then that goes to the state.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that would maybe make sense. I guess if it was a federal offense that you broke, then that would make sense that the money would go to the Department of the Interior because the DNR is upholding the law of
Federal.
the federal law, right?
Right.
So that would make sense. I would just be shocked to see them just be like, "Oh yeah, no, that ticket for our, like our limits, like we're turning that over too." The thing that's really weird to me though, like I was kind of getting at though, is still when you buy your license, you're still supporting.
That's going to your state.
It's going to your state.
Yep.
Right, and that is how most of the people in the DNR, probably not realistically most, but like it certainly is funding people's jobs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. What was the stat, Carter? When you buy a state duck stamp,
I have no idea.
You're talking about what percentage of it?
It's a federal duck stamp. It's a federal duck stamp.
But you buy a state stamp too.
90% goes towards conservation.
Right. In
And
the
then
form of what? That's the big question.
That's left up to unelected bureaucrats.
That's right.
So I do have here, I think you were wrong, Joey. Why would you do that?
That's awesome.
I hated that.
He's like tripped
So,
out.
yeah.
In it.
In Minnesota, fines collected from hunting violations are allocated to support both general state operations and wildlife conservation efforts. These fines are deposited into the state treasury, with half credited to the general fund and the other half to the game and fish fund.
That is bullshit. Why would half of it go to the general fund? It makes no sense.
Red tape.
It makes absolutely no sense. So some congresswoman can have a private jet?
An extra tea party.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That seems wrong. 50% of it you just turn over to Walls.
The state entity.
Just Walls.
Right.
Walls just buys this kid another suit for an event. Here we go.
Hugs him on stage.
Unreal. Yeah, I just think it's kind of funny that we don't actually know. In my mind, I don't know if the DNR wants us to hunt or doesn't want us to hunt. And I don't actually know if they understand the difference.
You're saying like the top brass, or you're saying like
just
each
people in
individual?
general. I'm not sure that they know what they're. I don't know if they actually understand what it is that the whole thing is doing.
I don't know. You remember when I got that dude cited for hunter harassment?
Yeah.
And I talked to this unbelievable CO. She was a badass chick. She was more upset that I had someone with me for his first time hunting and that he had to experience that, and that made her come down with the book You know, like she told me, she's like, tell me everything that happened. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. This guy did this, threatened us, whatever. And she was like, even keeled.
Have you told that story on the podcast?
Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, you have.
And she was even keeled. And then when I told her I was bringing out my future brother-in-law for his first or second time hunting, she lost it. She's like, so he's probably never going to want to hunt again, ever again. I was like, probably not, honestly. I mean, he told me he never wanted to deal with that again. She was pissed.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
for the love of the game or if that's for I mean, from what she told me or from like the interaction,
Sure.
she was pissed that my buddy would never hunt again. Do
Yeah.
that. So that's for the love of the game. But like as a general overview, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's bureaucratic.
You think that a lot of the DNR officers that like do really believe in hunting are just fighting an uphill battle every day? Like it's just a
Probably.
nightmare pretty much.
You know, if I take my emotions out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, most of the interactions that I've had with the DNR have been mainly positive.
Me too, man. But like I know that people do have some pretty negative interactions at times.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I've heard a lot of those stories and seen a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
And I just think that there can be questions at times about like why are you doing this job? You know, like your whole job is literally to try to uphold the law so that we can continue to conserve ducks because people want to hunt them or whatever the species or situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Fishermen get into shit like this all the time where the DNR is just harassing people, you know? Now, I don't think that that's like a majority of, it's the same thing with like cops, right? You know, like I think probably most cops are pretty good.
Yeah.
But there are definitely a portion of cops that are on a power trip, have an ego problem. And it has nothing to do with going out every day and trying to serve the public and do the right thing. It has everything to do with them feeling like they got a big set of balls.
Right.
And you're going to get that in every law enforcement, you know, kind of agency that you're dealing with. There's just going to be some bad apples that are out there for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But man, they make a lot of noise.
Let's just make it clear, right? Of course, when you are in a position of power like that,
Yeah,
the things that get highlighted the most are the bad people,
for sure.
right? Obviously, not all cops and law enforcement are bad. You know, I have a lot of friends that do it. So do you.
Yep.
You know, and we're not talking about our friends. We're talking about the people that show up in the news that are doing bad shit.
Yep.
You know, or the stories that we hear from buddies where it's like, I touched a corn cob and they said it was baiting and we all got our shotguns taken away.
Right.
It's like, dude,
Right.
come on. You know,
Right.
that's not what we're saying though.
Yeah.
We're not saying that they're all bad. Honestly, most of my interactions have been pretty good because
I think almost
really,
every interaction.
because I
good.
really try to follow the law.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah, it's
like,
important. Yeah,
I got to follow the law.
for sure.
This is a privilege. It's a God-given right, whatever you want to say, you know. And so I take that very seriously. I want to follow the law.
Yeah.
Here is the other thing that I wanted to say. But first, guys, this podcast is also sponsored by First Light. They have some unbelievable shit out there. And this time of year, what we're wearing a lot of are the trace pants. Unbelievable pants.
Light as a feather.
Light as an absolute feather. We absolutely love it in it.
In it.
Not only are we wearing the trace pants, but we're also wearing the rain gear and the vapor stuff. Let me tell you something about the lightest rain gear on the planet.
Light as a feather.
Light as an absolute feather.
Have
Yes.
you ever taken a feather and dropped it? It floats on the way to the ground.
This stuff is just hanging in the air.
It doesn't even fall.
doesn't even float.
Doesn't even fall.
Doesn't fall. And it's waterproof.
It's waterproof, mate.
It's seriously so good though, and they have it in so many different colors. I have mine in Terra, or it's like a light brown.
Yeah. Walnut.
It looks so good. It
Is
looks
it-
so good. You could literally put that thing into my pants pocket because it breaks down so small.
Right.
It's sick. So if you guys go to firstlight.com, go check out the rain gear and the trace system. So sick.
Light as a feather.
Light as an absolute feather, mate. Here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about for some current events.
Yeah.
Zone and split season configurations. States have the opportunity to revise their zone and split season configurations for the 26th through 2030 with proposals due in 2025.
Okay.
Hit up your congresswoman, hit up your congressman, your state official, whoever it is. I got to figure out ours and be like, yo, don't just do the South Zone. Let's split it up like we were talking about earlier in the podcast, because that would be so huge.
So the split that I told you about for the South Zone, Joey.
Yes.
So that's September 27 through October 5, and then it's 12 days off.
Right.
Season reopens October 17, runs through December 7th. Other, like, if you could change that even further, in your opinion, what would you do? Would you keep opener on the same day, or would you even push opener back?
I'd push opener back.
How far? And like, then would you have a split? Would you just run 60 days? Like, tell me what you would do then.
I would just push it back 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks period. And
Okay.
we'd start in early October. You'd have 2 weeks on, take 5 days off,
Okay.
and then open back up again.
And then
So you'd
run
be in
through
the
the
middle of
second week
December.
of December.
Yep. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. So essentially just push everything 2 weeks. So it'd be
Mhm.
like December 13 or something like that.
Right.
That would be sweet. I kind of wonder if it's still good to leave opener at the same time and then just go with a longer split in October. Like, what if we were open September 27 through October 5, and then we closed for, instead of 12 days, what if we closed for like 20 days? And we didn't reopen until like October 23rd or 24th or
That'd be
something
pretty
like
wild.
that. And then we went, until mid-December.
That'd be pretty wild.
Because the thing is, that October stretch, and the reality is too, hearing from guys in like North Dakota and dudes in Wisconsin, I know that they're experiencing the same lull that we are, Joe.
Yeah.
Like it's not just Minnesota. So that October stretch, like mid to late October, is brutal. And then you get into November and things get decent again. And if we could hunt at all in December, that would for sure be our best chance at shooting migrating birds without a question. Yeah, so in my view, I think opener is still good because in my mind, opener is a great chance for a lot of people to shoot ducks. And because there's a lot of brown ducks, there's a lot of teal still around, and I think that would still make sense maybe to keep it there. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is like, what do you think about early teal season?
I hate
Minnesota's had early teal season for a few years. In the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, whatever, like we'll see what this is about. Right now, my opinion is more like, why?
Well, we've talked about this before.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'll just touch on it. I've noticed way less wood ducks on duck opener. I've noticed way less big ducks on duck opener. And we're mainly just shooting teal. And even then, the birds are so educated and like leery. I'm like, I almost don't want to go out for our duck opener anymore. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's like we're shooting teal early. And then when we get to duck opener, the only ducks that are there are teal.
Right.
Make that make sense. You know what I mean?
It sucks. I don't want to go and shoot blue rockets and they're all brown.
I mean, again, on duck opener, I'm not mad to cook 20 teal up.
No, they're great.
But
I want to
it'd be really cool if we could shoot some more mallards.
I would like to decoy ducks.
Yeah.
I don't want to like take pass shots. It pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like it's getting harder and harder to do what you actually want to do on opener too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would do away with early teal and just see what happens, in terms of like the ability to try to shoot big ducks again on opener, like successfully.
Mm-hmm. And our ducks aren't going south when we're shooting them. They're going north, which is crazy. I followed a backpack study from an area that you and I have hunted extensively. They backpacked 200 birds or 200. I don't know if it was 200 a year or 203 years in this one
so
spot.
big difference, but either way.
Big difference. in when teal season started, and when
Early teal?
Yeah.
Okay.
when teal season started, and when duck opener started, like when the pressure started,
Sure.
they went straight north into Canada.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, and then a lot of them didn't come down until about Halloween. Like
Sure.
the big push, when we get a big push of mallards. And obviously there were some that were trickling and they would
Yeah.
get killed at the beginning of October and whatever, but the mass of those backpack mallards were not coming down until weather
Sure.
was pushing them down.
Whether that was, the week before Halloween or 2 weeks after Halloween, you know?
And so who knows if it's weather or if it's calendar migration or if they're just following the calendar birds.
Yeah.
I don't know. But when they feel that pressure, they go to where the food is. I don't know how they know that,
Very smart.
because a lot of them were juvenile, so they had just been hatched that year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they know that.
They're just with other mallards and know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that would be an interesting thing to see what would happen if we took away early teal again. And honestly, I don't
We'll
know
just
that
go
many
back to
guys
normal.
that are like
We'll
that
just go back to
excited about
normal,
early
bro.
teal anyway.
No.
I mean, some people go out, but nobody you talk to is like, yeah, man, early teal opens tomorrow. Everyone's like, yeah, I guess I'm going to go and try. And
Like, is it a revenue thing? Because who's coming up to Minnesota for early teal?
I don't think very many
Not a whole
people.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And if they're not out of staters, it costs $4, $3. So
Right.
out of all the waterfowlers in Minnesota, let's just say 70,000 in Minnesota.
How many people hunted ducks last year in Minnesota, Carter? I know it's more than 70,000.
How many state duck stamps did we sell? That's the tell-all.
Yeah.
Out of all those people, how many people bought an early teal season
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
license?
There's certainly people out there.
10%?
In 2024, Minnesota sold 82,000 state duck stamps.
Okay.
That was close. Nice.
7% below the 10-year average.
Okay. And how many people bought an early teal season license?
I won't be able to see.
Yeah, unless you
Try
search it. They might not. It might not say.
I don't
but
think they've released the data on
I
that
won't
yet.
be able to see it, Mike.
not with
How
that
about,
attitude.
looking
No, they have not
Years-
released the data yet.
years past?
No, there's no data on the early teal season yet. They do the experimental season and Joey's looking it up.
Play the X-Files sound effect. Let's go into Say What. And before we do, Say What is brought to you by Sound Gear, and you guys can use our code for Sound Gear, which is Flyways to get customs, or MWF125 to get the new instant fits, the shields, which are badass, or you can use code MWF125 for $125 off of instant fits, which they have an awesome new product out for those called the Shield. So go get those right now. Carter, before we start, do you have the scores pulled up?
I do, yep.
Yeah, can you read those or tell us those?
Yeah,
Yep.
put it on the screen. Let me weep a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's going to take a second. Cause
Just don't do it. Just say the scores.
Okay, yeah. Joey is 51%. Cal, you are 62.
All right.
Damn.
Getting whomped.
11%.
What's it? What is the? How many questions out of?
Out of 74 for you
Okay.
and 69 for Joey. You've got an
Okay.
11 question lead point-wise on him.
Okay. Are we going to 100 or are we just calling it?
I don't know. I would love a reset.
Do you want to reset today?
We can reset today.
Yes.
You want to
Oh my-
reset today?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I officially won round one.
Oh, for
Season
sure.
1 goes to Cal.
Season 1 goes to Cal.
You won hard.
Okay.
Bad.
Yeah, very hard. How many do we want to do for the future? Because we were going to go to 100. That seemed like that wasn't going to work that good. Do you want to go to 50? You want to go to 25?
Let's go to 25. Let's see where we're at 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go
And
to
I'm-
25.
And I'm not going to think.
We'll
either.
shorten our seasons by a lot.
Yep. And we switch who answers first. Because I feel like you just
Okay.
go opposite of me every time
All right.
and you get it right.
Okay.
So,
So we'll go every other. We'll go 6 questions per time.
okay.
We'll go every other.
Yep.
So this time you will start the first question. You'll answer first.
Shit.
The next time we come, I'll answer first, but then we'll rotate.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come. All right. You ready, Carter?
Yeah. First one here. The deepest diving bird is the emperor penguin, which has been seen at the depth of 1,770 feet.
And it breathes air.
I don't know what it breathes. I didn't look that up.
Can it live on water?
I'd assume
Penguins
it is air breathing. Yep.
breathe air.
Yep.
Yeah, 1,070 feet down. Okay, you have to answer first. I'm helping you think through this.
I mean, that's pretty
The
far.
thing is, this isn't even a waterfowl species we can... It's not even a waterfowl species.
True. This is just blatant trivia.
It's just a fucking straight up trivia game at this
well, it's
point.
not even trivia. It's like, haha, gotcha.
Right.
Game.
It's a
not-
gotcha game.
It's a, haha.
We're in the middle of a gotcha game.
No, Carter is Dave Chappelle.
Thank you.
Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. I'm going to go with true.
I'm going to go with false.
It is true. Starting off
Fuck.
season 2 good.
Damn. 1,000, how far?
Yes.
1,770.
That's insane.
That's fucked up.
That's far.
What is
How's
that? The Marianas Trench?
I don't
Mariana Trench?
I don't know.
Is it
I mean-
Marianas or Mariana?
Mariana.
Okay.
I have so many questions. First one, how did they record this?
It was seen.
It was seen
It was seen like
by...
I'll see if I can find the.
Because this guy, I mean, was the bird dead?
A submarine.
Just got... He
Had
just
to be a
ate, he ate
submarine.
lead weights like that fish that guy caught, that walleye. I didn't put those in there. He ate them.
They've been seen with a submarine, and they can stay underwater for extended periods. The longest recorded up to 27 minutes.
Hold up. They're going 1,000 feet underwater in under a half hour.
No, they would have to do it in half the time because
Yeah,
it would take
in
them the same
13
amount of time to
minutes.
come back up.
Their typical dive for hunting for food is 330 to 650 feet on a typical dive.
That's crazy.
How fast can pigeons swim?
Pigeons?
I'm
I don't
sorry,
know.
not pigeons. Penguins. Underwater pigeons.
Aquatic pigeons.
They can swim from 4 to 5.5 miles an hour.
Pigeons.
Yes. Emperor pigeons.
Emperor pigeons. All right, fuck. I mean, that wasn't a waterfowl species at all, Carter, but yeah.
Nope.
That's so intense. I know that old squat when I was hunting on Lake Michigan, I was like, how far out are we? He's like, I think we were like 3 miles offshore. And I'm like, how deep are we? He goes, well, the last week they were feeding in about 100 to 125 feet.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's crazy. He goes, but recently they're in a little bit more shallow. So we're in like 75 to 100. I'm like, holy shit.
That's so deep.
Crazy.
That's not a whole lot for them.
That's actually so crazy.
That's actually so
Something
crazy.
actually crazy. You want to hear the next question?
Yeah. So now I go first.
The best diver of all waterfowl is an old squaw. They have been caught in fishing nets at a depth of 240 feet.
I'm going to say true.
Repeat the question.
The best diver of all waterfowl is an old squaw. They have been caught in fishing nets at a depth of 240 feet.
I'm going to go with true.
It is true.
Oh.
Damn.
I was going to save that for a different time, but it was very relevant.
It was very fitting.
Yeah.
That's actually so crazy.
That's actually so crazy.
240 feet underwater
That's
to
a
get
lot.
food.
That's a lot.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
That sucks. Those
Have
ducks are living a hell of a
Have you
life.
seen videos of divers underwater?
Yeah, but
Like as they're swimming?
not
to, like, get
240
food?
feet.
Carter, have you ever seen that?
I do not believe so.
It's crazy, dude.
That's actually so
We're
crazy.
gonna hit that
actually
all-
so crazy.
It is.
No, look it up. Let's put it on the video podcast of
Like a
Diver-
video of a diving duck. You want
Diver
to
ducks.
specifically find like a video of an old squaw.
I don't know. I want to say it was a bluebill. The video.
Oh,
I
that you've
saw.
seen? Yeah, I've seen bluebills and goldeneye.
Eating. Oh, I saw gold. It was a golden eye.
Was it a goldeneye?
It was a golden eye.
Might be the same video.
Freaking nuts.
Pretty-
Those things are just foraging on the lake or ocean floor.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Not 240 feet down though.
No, I'm pretty sure golden eyes an average of like 90.
Oh,
They can go
I
down to
don't know.
90.
I have no idea at this point. At this point, I don't know what the fuck to think.
Yeah.
We got birds 1,700 feet underwater.
Yeah. Well, that's an emperor penguin.
A little different.
So those things are down in the Arctic. Arctic or Arctic?
Well, it's Arctic. I mean, that's how it's spelled.
Right.
You know, whether you want to cut off some.
I go for phonetic, but then you hear people saying it
Arctic.
a certain way.
I think it's because people just say Arctic, and you just lose that C.
Well, no, people
Arctic.
say Arctic,
I know.
and it's like
Arctic Circle.
Arctic Circle.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Next one.
Next one.
The next one here. So, a study in Manitoba's Delta Marsh showed more than 90% of canvasback nests contain redhead eggs. The hens go on to raise the redhead ducklings as their own.
True.
False.
It is true.
I've heard that one before.
Ducks Unlimited.
I didn't realize it was 90% though.
Yeah, I thought that
That's
was
the
really
number
high.
that makes me think there's no way.
Yeah. But he
Say
said
it
so
again?
much fact. Go ahead.
A study in Manitoba's Delta Marsh showed more than 90% of canvasback nests contain redhead eggs. The hens go on to raise the redhead ducklings as their own.
Why?
You would think you would see a lot more hybrids though.
Why are there so many redhead ducks getting mixed into a nest with canvasbacks? Is a canvasback taking over an existing redhead nest?
No, I don't know. I can't remember when I read that.
It's not like they're like putting them under their wing and like taking them back to their nest. These eggs.
Right. Well, maybe the canvasbacks are just so good at making nests and they do it earlier than redheads do. And so redheads are like,
Just borrow their nests
yeah, maybe.
when they're out and about.
I know coots are a really big problem for canvasback nests. Like they come in there and they just destroy the eggs.
Coots are so dumb. They don't know where they're walking though. You know, they just fucking.
Right. No, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done. Have you ever played golf in the Southwest in the winter? Like Arizona,
I've golfed in
Utah,
Arizona.
Nevada. Did you do it in the winter?
Yeah.
The amount of coots on every golf course that I've been on in Arizona, Utah, Nevada is like insane. How many?
I guess I
frickin'
didn't really
coots.
take notice.
They're just all over the place.
Of that.
When I was in
They're all over
Arizona,
the fairway.
Yeah.
it was widgeon everywhere.
Mhm.
way more widgeon than any other duck.
A lot of widgeon down there,
Mhm.
big time.
I did look it up. Redhead hens increase their reproductive output by laying eggs in other nests on purpose. They just happen to have habitat where the canvasbacks are, and the canvasbacks don't
Kick them out.
abandon their nest if there's other eggs in there.
Wow.
So it's all that together.
So redheads are just lazy as fuck,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
So redheads are like, fuck this. I'm not
it
raising
pertains
these
to
kids.
real life too. You know, if
Oh.
you think about our friends that are redheads, pretty lazy.
Really?
Yep.
I have some that aren't. The very like opposite of.
Yeah. Well, you're wrong.
Okay. Shit.
You don't live in their home.
That's what it is. At
I'm
home,
very-
they're really lazy.
I'm very productive out in the world, but when I get home, I'm lazy, according
Sure.
to my wife.
okay.
So, and that might be the same
And
thing
you have
for
red
your.
hair?
That might be the same thing for your redheaded friends.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't know.
Joey, do you want one of your history ones again?
Sure.
Loves history. This guy's a big
Cal's
history buff.
answering first, so
Okay. The mallard was given its scientific description and name back in 1634.
I mean, to be straight up with you guys, like these questions are fucked. Like, how would you ever learning so much? But I'm gonna say false.
I'm gonna go with true.
It is false. It was 1758,
that seemed
120 years
really
later.
early.
120 years later.
Seemed really early.
Yeah, I made it long enough so it's like a difference.
That is a big difference, Carter.
Yeah,
That
thank
was
you.
that was very nice of you.
That was
honestly.
nice of you.
Still got to
Oh,
remind Joey.
Joey, dumb. I think. What are we both 2 for 4?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
No. I've only gotten one wrong. That was my first one wrong.
Really?
Yep, he is correct. Joey's 3 for 4. You're
for
2 for
four.
4.
Ouch.
Bitch.
And we have 2 more left.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm 3 for 4. Bitch.
All right. Bitch. Yeah. Next one.
The punt guns that market hunters use got their names from the way the hunters loaded these guns by kicking the stock to make sure the action was closed and the shot was settled before firing.
Wow.
I
mean, how
I have
would you?
no idea.
How would you? Have you ever seen a punt gun in real life?
Yes.
Like in a museum or anything?
Yes. Very cool.
I have not seen one in real life. And
I did not
want
think
to.
about how they say the question again.
The punt hunt. Whoa.
Oh, the punt hunt. Oh, the punt hunt.
The punt guns that market hunters use got their name from the way hunters loaded these guns by kicking the stock to make sure the action was closed and the shot was settled before firing.
Kicking the stock? I'm going to go with true.
I'm going to say false.
Yeah, I made that shit up.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, how the turntables.
So now, the question for you.
Sure.
Did you just go based on my thought
No,
process?
I just thought in my head, it's even if they kick the stock, there's no punting going on here. Like it just makes no sense. Like the punt gun, it just
How did it get its name, Carter?
I'll look it up.
he doesn't actually know.
This is a problem.
Can we play the X-Files?
This is the problem, Cal.
Oh, I did actually know this. Punt gun gets its name from the small flat bottom boat it was used with, called a punt.
Oh.
So
Okay.
the boat it was loaded onto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mounted.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
didn't
got a
know they
mounted
called that
gun,
boat-
mate.
You got a mount.
You got to mount it up.
You got a
You
mount.
can't hold it with your
Oh,
hands.
you absolute piece of shit. Got a mount it. Okay.
Imagine how crazy people looked like driving out in the water with these tiny little
Dude.
boats and some big fucking huge gun mounted to the bow.
This is how they look.
Hopeful.
A lantern.
A lantern. Yeah, can't see shit. Yeah, that's accurate. That was pretty good.
What do we have for ammo today? We got spoons. We got forks, ball bearings, screws, and nails.
Yeah.
Actually, that might have been
All made of lead.
that. What
Just
that might have been pre-screw. Carter, when did they invent the screw?
do you know?
No.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
actually having him look it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ancient Greece,
Oh, damn.
234 BCE.
All Phillips heads.
Yeah.
No way it was Phillips. Had to have been
all
Flathead. Had to have been Flathead. What was it, Carter?
Probably.
Archimedes screw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the old Archimedes.
Yeah. Do you not know about the Archimedes screw?
I don't know about an Archimedes screw.
Carter, help me out here.
Help you out how?
Well, you going to say what an Archimedes screw is?
Right. So I'm pretty sure it was a way.
Wait,
that
yeah,
they-
let Joey say what he thinks it is first.
Okay, it's two things. Had to do with the movement of water, right?
Okay?
And then it was they did it for something with flight.
No,
If
mate,
I'm
that's
not-
an Aquamedes screw. Water.
So you were definitely right about the water.
Okay.
But believe it or not, they didn't have planes in ancient Greece.
No,
So
I'm aware. It had something
Hey.
to do with.
Closet boy. Read what it is.
Thank you.
yeah. It is one of the earliest documented hydraulic machines. It was named after Archimedes. It is
Cool.
a reversible hydraulic machine that can be operated both as a pump or a power generator.
What does that have to do with the screw?
It goes in a screwing motion.
Right, and it would power things.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't used as a fastener. It was used.
Oh.
Right.
They were first used as fasteners. I had it up here in 1st century BCE.
Century BC.
So still wrong, but
So old as fuck.
yeah. Phillips screw wasn't invented till the 1930s.
And it's a terrible one.
So
Should've just
here's
never
what the
invented
Archimedes
that.
screw looked like.
Okay.
They could take water up.
I
From
see.
a surface.
In a vortex, essentially. They're pulling it.
Yeah, they'd pull it
Yep.
upwards. Yep.
Okay.
Ready
Cool.
for the last one?
Yeah, let's do the last one. What's the score right now then?
I think you were both 3 for 5.
Yep.
Okay. Last one. The heart rate of geese increases when they see their mate or family member in a conflict with another goose.
Who answers first right now? I do. I'm going to say true.
Why are they measuring this shit? Is my question.
How
Why-
are they measuring this shit is my question.
Yeah, are they hooked up to wires and shit?
Probably.
I mean, I'm gonna guess it's true. I'm gonna guess true.
It is true.
There we go.
But like, why?
Joey,
Why are we spending taxpayers' dollars on this?
who knows if we did, though? It might be a biology group that's funded privately by people that want to.
It is measured by radio frequency and a ECG on the goose.
They get excited.
Goodness.
I do want to say 4 for 6. Both of us.
Yeah.
That's a great start.
It's a great start.
That's a great start.
Neck and neck, mate.
Yep. And we got to make it an even number. That's the thing. If we're going to do 6 every time,
30 would be an even number.
30 would be better. 5 podcasts.
There you go.
Okay. So we'll go to 30. That makes more sense. Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing. Everybody just learned something. You won't be able to use it for anything important in your life. But maybe the next time somebody asks you when the screw was invented, honestly, what's happening here is we're just turning into people into really good trivia people. If you ever end up in a situation where there's like waterfowl trivia at a bar, you can win shit, you're going to do really well.
Right.
If you're paying attention. I guarantee you Carter doesn't even know half the answers to these questions.
Nope.
If you went back in time. All right. Hey, thanks guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Leave us a review. Be on the lookout. Got some good stuff coming out. And really quick, one more thing.